Hello guys, this is Paula, and I am back today to do part 2 of our little mini album, which we added decoupage to. And it was made out of four 4x6 Project Life cards. Now we glued those two together, and then we put a little 1-inch spine in between them, and then we covered the Project Life cards on both sides with text. You can see it in the background right in here, and then we decoupaged. And we would do one side, heat it, you know, kind of dry it as much as we could till it was sticky, and then we flipped it over, did the other side, and then we took a strip, which this part didn't do great, but then if you look over here, you can't see where we took this 1-inch strip, put it up on this side, and flipped it up and flipped it down to cover that raw edge. This raw edge was already covered because we cut a piece of tissue to allow to come over both edges on the right and the left side, and then just bring it in here, and it overlapped somewhere in here. Maybe it's on this side. You can't see it. That's the really nice thing about it, is well, maybe it's right here where we overlaid it. Okay, so I have chose this to be my, let me see which side I chose to be my front. I was going to use this because I really like the way it looked, but there's a little bit of white right up there. And then I look here, and this one looks the best on the top and on the bottom. So I decided to go with this. Okay, so now I'm going to open it to the inside. The next thing we're going to do is stitch. I added a piece of not heavy cardstock, more like a paper cardstock. And I cut it, I cut the pockets first. I used this fabric, and I used my pinking shears around the edges, except on the inside because that's going to be covered. Made sure my fabric was in the upright position, made sure my book was in the upright position, and then I added this little bit of paper so this wouldn't be so flimsy. And what we do next is we bring the sewing machine over, and we are going to stitch around this. I did not add glue in the middle. You can, it's going to be a little loose, but this is not like a project, you know, you would do as your main project. I guess you could if you had it figured out how to do it. Okay, and then, so you're going to make sure you cover up all your paper, and then you're going to start, let's see, let's start right down here. And I'm just doing a small zigzag stitch. In other words, it's not super giant. You know, the width is not that bad on it. I'm going to turn my fan on. Sorry, I tell you, when I turn these lights on, it melts me. I don't know if it's just old age or what. Okay, so we're going to stitch this. I'm going to see if you guys can see. I'm going to flip it up right there real quick. We'll be going back and forth on stitching. And so I'm just stitching around the outside of this pocket. I want to stitch it to the paper. And so you want to have your paper lined up nice and straight behind your fabric. I left the pinking shear cut. I just thought it was different, so we're going to keep it on the, whoops, almost got my finger there. Okay, and I'm not going to the very, very edge. If you notice here, I'm wanting to make sure I hook that paper. And we'll glue this pocket on rather than stitch, because we really don't want to stitch through the book now at this point. Now, we will stitch through the book. I do not know what the results of stitching through the decoupage will be. Do not know. Like I told you when I started part 1, I've never done this particular thing with a book. I've not covered a book with decoupage. So we're going to see what happens. Now, because I zigzagged and because my machine, for some weird reason, will not backstitch with a zigzag. I know, I've gone through that manual and it's just nobody can figure it out. So I've tried all my little tips that my friends have given me. Just doesn't work. I can backstitch on only on the straight stitch on my machine. Now, isn't that crazy? So I just double tie it if I can get hold of it. Let's try that again. Maybe I got it all tangled up there. So I'm just going to double stitch. Tie the double threads here on the corner. And this is very simple. Why am I making it difficult? Okay, one more time. There we go. Two knots. Just tie it and make a knot out of 2 knots, and then just trim that off. Okay, now I'm going to bring you back down here. Be lucky that I remembered to do that, you guys. I'm going to make sure this is straight. Excuse me. I don't want you to be looking at a lopsided video the whole time. Okay, so I'm going to move this over a little bit for just now. Okay, now we're going to get back over here, and before, I don't want to glue these until we get ready to do this spine right here, which I'm thinking, do we want to do the spine first? I really want to stitch around the book. So the first thing we're going to do is stitch all the way around the outside of the book with the right side up. So we're going to have this right side up, and we're not going to stitch up and down here yet. We'll do that when we put the binding fabric on, because even though we have this all attached together, this still would never hold a book. Okay, it would start getting thin after it been manipulated a few times. Okay, that was just so we could keep everything together to decoupage. Okay, so we're going to start, I think I'm going to start in the back. I'm going to bring this over and make sure you guys can see it really well. Although the light on my sewing machine is horrible. Okay, let's see what we can do here. I hope you guys can see that all right. It looks like it's the best I can get it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and make, I want to make the stitch, when your machine comes on and you put it on zigzag, I want to make it 1 stitch bigger. Okay, so that way we know that it's going to not be so, it won't chew things up so bad. Now, I have never stitched on decoupage with my machine, so this is going to be interesting too. Let's see here. Now, I don't know how my machine will handle it, but we're fixing to find out. If it can't take care of, if it can't do it, then I'll have to figure out something else. And hopefully my needle doesn't break along the way. Now, I'm not right up against the edge. That way it doesn't peel off the edge, but enough that it is decorative. I always like to slow down to get to a certain point of zigzagging. Oh yeah, that's gonna look good. Can you see that right there? Good, let's just go a little bit more. There we go. Now we are going to go straight across the 1-inch binded strip there. This is why it's really important that you, I should have really, not gone. I went out one stitch too far. Let me see if there's any way I can take that back. I don't think so. So it's probably going to start off a little off the page. Whoopsie. Okay, so now we're going down the front side. And again, we're just going around the whole book here. You can do this lots of different ways. You can put the binding down and do it all in one step. But because I wanted to do the fabric pockets, I had to do it a little different. Yeah, it's not looking bad. And you know, using black thread helps cover any mistakes you might make. I haven't made any yet, but it's not over. It's not over yet. Coming to the end here. And the next thing we'll do after we get to the end and we tie it off, we will, after we tie it off, we will get, can you guys see? I hate moving things around because then I worry about you being able to see things. Okay, I'm gonna lay this up here. Maybe you can see. Now I just take the 4 strings, divide them, and tie them into a double knot. Sometimes I do 3, depending on how it's holding. I want to make sure this one stays well. So you can leave your strings longer or shorter. It's up to you. Okay, so there is how the stitching turned out. Not bad. So now we're going to put the binding on. Now when I do this binding, I don't want, I'm going to put a stitch straight down the middle to hold it, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to face the writing upward this way, okay? This is the front of my cover right here. No, it's not. Got it on the wrong side, I think. Yeah, I did. It doesn't matter. We'll have this be the cover because honestly, I kept coming back to it because I wanted it to. I just didn't like this little bit of white. Doesn't matter. I mean, you can decorate your cover. You can do whatever you want to your cover. I want it to be right there. That's a good way to know. Okay, so I've got this fold in my fabric, so I want that to end up here on the top. You could press your fabric if you wanted, but I just decided I'm going to have to fold it over right there anyway. So this is the outside. So we're going to fold it over, and then we're going to come over here on the inside of the book, and we're going to line this up. Now, you can mark with some pencil, which is what I kind of did. You center this 1 inch in your fabric, okay? Your fabric's about 1.5 or 1 3/4 wide. I did have it 2 and it was just too much, I decided. So, trying to figure out how to center this perfect, or as perfect as I can get it. I'll put it that way. Now, I think what I'm going to do is do it like this, okay? Fold it over. And then I'm going to clip it with a paper clip. Let's see if that works. We're going to find out. Okay, this part here, want to make sure it's centered, okay? And then we're going to fold it over and paper clip. Now, once we get that, I don't know how easy this is going to be because it's slippery. Yeah, let's try the other side first. Let's try this upper side first. Okay, try this again. This is tricky. I mean, you could do it different, I guess, but you could put some glue down there, but I don't want glue seeping through my little book. So I'm going to go like this, which is on the inside. I'm pulling it tight right there, and then I'm going to clip a clip on there. And I'm going to clip it on both sides so it can't go anywhere, okay? Because we're going to go down the middle to start with. Down the very middle. Okay, so we've got that on there. Now let's flip it over and see what it's looking like over here. Whew, it's all bunched up. You always check both sides, because you never know what's going on the other side. Now, this is going to be our front. So, looks nice there. Let me get a couple more big clips. I'm running out of my big silver clips. I have to get to the store and get some. Okay, so I'm going to hold this, flip it over, and we'll go back and check that and make sure everything's straight once we get the clips on. Okay, now this kind of slid over, so I want the front for sure to be very straight. This is the inside. We want those to match, but I don't want the fabric to be loose, and that's what I worry about, is it being loose in this situation. You can see right there. So I'm thinking, instead of pinning both sides down, I'm sitting here thinking as I'm doing it, maybe we should start. No, because that wouldn't work either, and get it perfectly straight. My goal is just to try to get it straight. It doesn't have to be perfect. So what I'm going to do is just pull this down, and I'm going to start with this area right here. And I don't know what Scotch tape does. I may just tape it. Okay. Let's just see what happens if I just tape the very edge here, just to hold it in place until we get where we want to with the machine. Okay, I'm just going to put it right there on the edge, and then I'm going to clip it. It's like you need 10 hands. Do you know what I'm saying? Now my clips are hooked to each other. Okay. All right, now let's see what it looks like on the other side. This is what we're going to sew on and hope that we catch everything on the back side. So, let's make sure we're straight. I have a feeling we're not going to be perfect on the inside. It's just a gut feeling I have, but that doesn't mean it's true. Once we get the center done, we'll be all right. All right, now I'm going to pull this back over so you can see, and it's moving my mat and everything. Okay, now let's start on this side. This is going to be our front, so we're just going to stitch right down the middle with a zigzag. Okay, get as close to the edge as you can, just so you know it will look as nice as possible here. You ready? Can you see? I hope you can, guys. If not, I'm going to feel bad. Probably after this, you know, you kind of have to help guide this through. And probably after this whole process, it would be smart to change your needle. I don't know that for sure, but I think I'm going to, because it is having to work hard to get through there. So now I'm going to cut this off, pull my threads out longer so I don't lose them. Okay, I'm going to move this over for a second. See how it turned out. It's not going to be, it didn't have to be ideal. See, it didn't make it perfect because it was having a hard time pulling through the machine. I kind of gave it a little boost with my fingers pushing on the back of the book. Do your double knot or back stitch, whichever you have. I just don't want a bunch of strings in my way distracting me. Plus I want it to stay. Now, the reason I did down the center, which probably would have been smart to kind of make some tick marks of what the center was. But again, this is not a project that is to be perfect. You know, our goal is just to get it on here without, you know. So now I'm going to take the right clips off here on the right side. Now I'm going to go ahead, even though, trying to look here, you can see that this is off. I probably will do another stitch down the middle when it's all said and done. But right now we're just going to start, let's start on this side over here. And that will pull your stuff off, just FYI. You want to be careful not to really stick it down too long. Okay, so we're going to start right here. Can you guys see okay? I'm going to pull my machine over so you can. Okay, now we're just going to stitch down one side of the fabric on the binding. And we're doing it as close to the edge as we can without being off. You want to make sure when you do this that the other side is lying flat. Excuse me. Mercy. Even though I think mine was, I hope it is. Does that make sense? Because it was. Yeehaw. Okay, so now, make sure you guys can still see right there. You can. We're going to go ahead and tie this off because of my lousy machine, which really is only 1.5 years old, if that old. Okay. It's all blended in as one color and it's kind of hard to see. Now you can do this in beautiful fall, you can do it in fall colors, you can do it in winter colors, you could do it in spring flowers, you know, birds, butterflies. There's no limit to what you could do. Now I'm just hoping that I cut my fabric wide enough that it catches both sides of the book and not just the in-between space, you know. I questioned how much I had, see, because like if you fold it, see how it's popping up there? I don't like that it's doing that. I should have left just learn from me, I should have left this fabric 2 inches. 2¼ I think is what I had at first. No, 2 full inches is what I had it. So we're going to do this other side now. And I think we're going to start here. No, we're going to do that with a straight stitch. So we're going to do another zigzag stitch down this other side. And then we'll do the around the whole thing with a straight stitch. Just because I like the grunginess of that. Plus, Well, I guess it's not really grungy because it's very clean. But I mean, like, just not perfect. Not perfectly straight. And I like to add a straight stitch sometimes whenever I make things like this. Okay, now we're going to tie these real fast. I shouldn't have said the word real fast because probably it won't happen now. Okay, let me get my finger around it here. The reason I left the 2 spaces on each side of the middle zigzag was because that's where we'll bind the book. Now, I don't know if you notice it or not, but right here we got some puffiness from the fabric, and that's okay because we're not trying to glue this down. And we just want it to be as flexible as possible. It might look better if you did glue it down, but I don't want it to be seeping glue and messing with glue while I'm trying to sew. And okay, so now we're going to go to a straight stitch. And you want to enlarge that stitch at least by 1 and maybe 2. The reason I say that is because I don't want it so tight. See, it's already, you want to get up against this and get this to stay down as much as possible. That's what our goal is going to be here. So I'm going to start at the bottom in the front of the book. And you're going to want to stitch as close to the edge as you can. And we do have back stitch on this. So I'll catch the back stitch on our way back. So now you want this to be outside of your zigzag as close as to the front of the book as you can to catch those little edges that are jumping up. Now, one side on mine is worse than the other, but I'm still doing it because I want it to have the same look. I hope that I grabbed this fabric here. I'm not sure. No, I missed it. I missed part of it. I thought I was. That's why I mentioned it. We'll have to go around it again, but it's kind of like the same thing when we doodle. If you doodle around it and the first line's not straight, do a second line and make it look like it's intentional. Okay, let me see what I need to do here. It looks like this side is okay. It's this side. So we'll just do it again. We'll just do it again. And we might do it again on both sides so that it does look intentional. I'll just come in a little further over. Here we go. Stay to the inside. Grab the fabric. And I'm going to go ahead and go around it again so it, like I said, so it looks intentional. And if it goes over your zigzag some, no big deal. The messier the better, I say. It is a junk journal after all. Okay. We'll go right here. And then I'm going to go down the center after I do this portion right here. Now I'm looking to make sure everything is grabbed. Now, I'm going to look on the other side too, because honestly, you can sew it as many times as you need to make it look right and make it be like you want it to be. Okay, so this inside, it's okay. It's not perfect, but we're going to cover up parts of it. And I don't like the way this ended up right here. That is my mistake. Just so you know, I should have had this out further on each side. So I could go over this and put another piece of fabric. I mean, that's the thing but see, it's not sticking up now. That's the thing that's really fun about this sort of thing, is that you can cover it up, you can start over. But I think I'm going to do another straight stitch down the center. Okay, so that maybe it'll help straighten that out a little bit. Because I did go too much on one side compared to the other side. And this way it just looks messy. A lot of stitching, huh? Okay, that looks better. And actually, I want to do one more, and then that will be all of the stitching. And the reason I'm doing one more is because if you look, see, it's over this side, and then it comes over. So I want to take this next one straight down that. Straight down the center of that zigzag. That way it all looks cohesive. Okay, yeah, see, I like that better. Let's get all these strings cut off. Now, always, I have noticed, at least with my sewing machine, I don't know if everybody's sewing machine does this, I have noticed on the wrong side, you don't get as beautiful of a stitch, but on this it's better than when you don't have it decoupaged. So yeah, so there you go. Let me make sure I got the right side up here. That's the wrong side. I'll get it there. Here is the front of our book. I like the way this is turning out. Now you could use, let me get all this string off of here and move this sewing machine out of our way. Okay, get all this stuff into the trash, out of our way, and let me fix the camera back. Okay. Now, the next step is to use some glue, and we're going to glue our little pockets in. Now, I hate that the side that looks the worst is on the front, but there's not much I can do about that. Unless I add a whole nother piece over there. And if it bothers me later, I will. I'll just add another piece on there. But I really like that it has a small area here. We could also add a little bit of trim of some sort. And we might do that. We'll just see. I'm not getting that involved. But I just was trying to think of the best way to do it. Okay, so there we go. Now we're going to take our pockets. Now, I really wanted to stitch these under this, but I would have had to have glue all involved, and I didn't want to do that. But see, I like the messy look. I like it looking kind of messy. So you want to make sure you have pinking shears all around every side except the one that's inside here. And it wouldn't matter if you did inside there also. So we're gonna put glue around our pockets, and while that's drying, we can get our pages together. Now, I have not tea stained any kind of pages, so we're just, because this has got a white background, we're just going to use white paper and not worry about it. Now I do have tea stained paper, but because this is so white, I decided not to use it. Let me get a wipey. Got glue all over my fingers already. Okay. Now I'm going to kind of smooth this out so it doesn't go in on the pocket or out on the pocket. It probably will anyway. But I don't want it to glue my pocket down. You know how it gets real stringy. It's coming across the middle right here. I'm trying to get that. There we go. We got it. Okay, so now we're going to glue this pocket. Wait a minute, let me make sure I have this on the right. Yeah, on the inside, right side on this one. Yeah. And I just like using fabric because it's using another texture. Our first texture, of course, is the text paper and, you know, the book itself. And then the second is the decoupage and now the fabric. Yeah, that side is down good. So now we're going to do this side. Turn it around here so I can try not to overdo it. Take my finger, pick up any that is excess. This is a new bottle and it is wanting to come out fast on this bottle. Let me wipe my fingers off. There's some massive glue on there. Okay. Now, I'm going to do this side. Okay. Now, if you wanted to, you could decorate, you know, you could put a decorative cover on it. Like, see, look at that. How cute. Now, this is going to wrinkle up, but we're going to have, once we stitch through here, it's going to be fine. There we go. Sorry guys, it's not cool. Okay, everything's down, so I'm going to wipe off the glue top, put it away, get it out of the way, and I'm going to pull out my papers. Now, I haven't got my stuff out to bind, or, you know, to stitch. But I did lay out a bunch of fabrics. Bunch of paper. Now, I did not copy, like I said, I did not coffee stain this paper. Some of it's too wide. And I figure what we can do is trim however we want to trim and turn that fan off. Now it's getting chilly. 5 seconds, I'll be hot again. Okay, so we got our trimmer out, and I figure what we'll do is just measure this first, which we know it's 4 by 6, right, for each side. So let's see where the binding stops, right there. Okay, so we've got, I'm coming in in a backwards way. So it is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and just barely. So if we can do 4, and it should be perfect. 4 by 6. Nothing changed. So I would say we should do 3 and 3/4 and 5 and 3/4 to do it exactly like we want it. Okay, now let's start doing that. Now I didn't measure any of this. I just cut some of this paper in half and went on. So I think what we'll do, we got a couple pages of each. I think we'll just do one at a time because we're going to do 2 small signatures. And I figure we can fold. Let's set this up here. We can get on this line right here and fold back to the 3 and 3/4 line here so that we know it's not going to stick out too far. We'll just fold it back and we'll just have like a little flip there. Okay, and we'll fold the other one the opposite way. That way we don't have to cut any paper up or anything. Okay, Let's go ahead and do the other one for the other signature. I'm going to line it up and fold it at the same spot. Then we'll do this other side. There we go. All right, so that's the two signatures started. I'm going to put it like this. And most of the paper is going to be way wider than what we would really want it to be. But that's nothing we can do about that. Okay, so again, I'm going to fold it to the 3 3/4. Now, not everything has to have a flip, like a, you know, like a fold in or fold out or flip out or whatever you want to call it. But there, you know, a few pages, like some of them I cut bigger, some I cut smaller. I don't know how many ended up actually being the correct size, but I wasn't worried about it too much. Okay, and then we've got some of the stuff I figure we can just cut so you guys can see. So we're going to cut some of it to 3 3/4 and not have the hangover, okay? Because we don't want them all to be like that. And some of them already come folded the right size. Let's see how that one has to be trimmed off at the end. These are a couple, these are like some stuff I've got to that needs to be tea stained, and I just decided, you know, we're not going to tea stain this because we don't have to. We don't want to, right? I do most of the time, but I figure just keep cutting these down to the size they need to be. We know they're the right length. Ow! That got hung. Okay, let's try that again. Some paper's thicker than you realize till you cut into it, and it does let you know. Okay, on this one I folded it kind of different. Yeah, it's gonna have to be trimmed also. Let's see. Let's see how wide this one is. Yeah, it still needs to be cut down. I would have had this done, but I thought, well, I want them to see the process. Now, here is some grid paper. I'm going to go ahead and cut it down to the right side. Or size, I guess I should say, not side. And these aren't going to be giant signatures. I just kind of I just grabbed some random paper. Because this is not going to be the main journal in what I'm doing. And it's probably not even going to go in a book. This is just for fun. Let's put some more of this blue in there just to bring out some color. And here is a dictionary page. We probably could fold this dictionary page. Oh, it's already done. Okay, let's do one more of these. I didn't dig out any music sheets, but I got a couple little, I don't know, these, yeah, I got a couple little book pages. I don't know what they'll end up looking like, but we could probably flip them. That way you don't lose the bottom of the page. Okay. Yeah. There we go. One for each side, and then that's going to be, I didn't even count these guys to see what size they were or how many pages was in each one, but I'm about to do that. Okay. After I fold this last one. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, so now, gotta turn my fan on again. Sorry, guys. It is really humid here today. Oh my, I took the dog out and it was crazy outside. Okay, so we want to start with something that, you know, is going to be more the size of the book. Okay, like this. Okay, and we'll have it be the front of each signature. So let's pull out both of those. Okay, and we're just going to do both signatures identical. And that way we don't have to worry about it not being like it needs to be. So let's start with some kind of white paper. Put that in here. And they may be slightly different lengths, but that's okay. Okay? That is okay. And you want to do both sides. I'm doing both sides the same. So now I'm going to take one of these that fold. And I will kind of bring some up, some down on the page, you know. That way we know, each time I'm having to find the same page. That's what's taking me forever. Okay. Okay, now we'll do one of these quote pages in the middle. I think there's one here. Yeah. All right, so now we'll do this gray paper. And see, a lot of them are not going to be the height because I picked a bunch of small papers. So we just kind of alternate them up and down on the inside, and every now and then, if you've got one, put in one that is the full height of the book. I'm not really too worried about it. Okay, there's that. And now we have one that's the height of the book. So we're going to put it in the center of all those that's scattered in different ways. But you want to make sure it's in the actual center. Yeah, there we go. Now we can do some more scattered ones. Okay, let's put some blue in there. Up at the top. Probably be easier to open these. I think I'm going to do that at this point because they're so small. Okay, so now we're going to do dictionary. That dictionary paper there is pretty thin. I might have to put some washi on that. Make sure everything's right side up while you're doing this too. Now, if you wanted to add some cardstock in here, like we do sometimes in a regular journal, you could do that. I'm just doing paper. And so here we go. We're going to put another full sheet. The wrong one there. Oops, got two there. No killing. Okay, there's that. Then we're going to put in the little childlike page. That very middle. Okay, and then we're actually going to put that up to the top. Then we'll put another blue sheet down to the bottom. And then we'll put this other big sheet in the middle. So, I mean, you can do whatever you want, you know, and then when you get ready to do your signature, when you fold everything in like this, you want to make sure everything is down, okay, like you want it. And I'm going to lay this right here. I'm going to have to get my thread and needle. Now, I did not make a template or anything for this. I'm looking to make sure we've got everything spread up and down correctly. Okay. It really doesn't matter, you know. Okay, so this is 1 and this is 2. I did not count those, but we will. I'm going to get my my binding needle. I've got junk everywhere. It's because it's constant with me. All right. I'm going to see if we have any small ones. Well, looky there. How lucky are we? We got one that's close enough. All right, let's see. Let's get the book over here and make sure. This is for a 1-inch spine. So, I don't know how tall the book is though. Let's see. When you do this, you always want to put a T or put the word top at the top of your book. Okay, and make sure you're on the spine correctly. Now, I'm just, in this situation, because it's so small, I'm just going to center this on here. You might want to take and use your, this already has hose poked in it. So I am just going down here and drawing the hose, and then I'll use my poker to put the hose through it. There is that one, and there is that one. Okay. Of course, this is all not perfect, but it's good enough. So, we want to take our awl, and I really don't want to use this thread. I'll get some crochet thread in just a second. Let's go ahead and get the hose poked in this. My poor book is underneath. You want something to pad. This is going to be super easy because, let's face it, there's not much thickness there. Well, I guess it's probably as thick as any book would be. I usually start by just poking the hole, and then I raise it up and push through it. Make sure your finger's not behind where I'm pushing through. I just make an indentation, and then I know I can bring it up, and I like to make them the same size. And on this, we don't want to overdo the holes because it's small. Okay, 2 more rows here. Don't you wish a big book was just as easy as this small book? Boy, I do. I almost stabbed myself with that thing. Gotta be careful, guys, if you're clumsy like Paula. Okay, let me get my white crochet thread. Oh, here it is, right here. We'll use this. I'm almost gone. It's almost empty. I've had this forever. So you want to do 2 lengths of the book. And then I pull off a little extra. Okay, let's do another one. Okay. Now, let's get our needle out. We're going to put the other one to the side. Whoops, sorry. Oh my goodness. You guys, I'm sorry. We're really close to being done. I'm trying my hardest to get it where we can bind everything, but we don't have holes in this portion yet, so I don't know if we're going to get it done in this video or not, guys. But you know how to do this part anyway. But I'm going to show you. You take the back. I usually go back to front, but you know, to each their own. Let's see. I've got to fold this. It was never folded, it looks like. This must have been from when I was a newbie. I recommend you fold, let me get in here so you can see. I recommend you fold each signature's line and slide it down into your paper so that it goes in straight, okay? So, and then I'm just gonna mark it with my pen, and then we'll get it all like it needs to be. Now, you got to remember to keep the T at the top. Make sure your paper is going to be lined up just perfect. Poke it in there in the center. Let me make sure it's right. It is. Okay, now I'm going to take the clip. You can do this with anything, any kind of clip. I'm going to do one signature with you, and then I'll let you guys, I'll show you the finished product later, or if it gets to the point that I feel like we need to do something else to it, I'll bring it back, but otherwise it'll be complete after this video. Now you want to go straight down in there. Straight down in there. Trying to get the hole the right size here. Okay, now got the crochet thread. Go in here. Gonna bring our signature over. And we're going to do the back first. So you go down the middle, into the middle of the back row. You pull it through. Leave a little bit inside your book. And then we're going to come back up to the top hole right here. And then we're going to attach it onto the next part of the book. I'm trying to do this one-handed here. Come on, there we go. And then we're going to pull that through. Now, naturally, when you do a regular book, I don't know about you, but I have to use pliers to help me get it just like I want it. Now, I'm going to push it back into the last hole. And then we will tighten everything up. I usually tighten stuff up as I go along, but because I'm trying to hurry in this video, I want to make sure you guys get to see. Yeah, okay, so there we go. Let me pull that all tight. Okay, now we got to go back up the center. Sorry about the head. I just washed my hair and it's kind of, you don't want to grab hold of the other thread when you go back up this center. You don't want to hook the thread, I guess is what I'm saying, because you won't be able to tighten your book enough if you don't. I know it's hard for you guys to see. I'm sorry. If this part's super confusing, just go ahead and you can go ahead and stop the video. It won't hurt my feelings. But I just want those of you that want to know how to do this. It's not easy to be on camera and do this because you're all over the place. Now you don't want both strings under, you want the string that goes across the book to be in the very center of these. Okay, my fingers are all crazy. Okay, there we go. Now, because you want to take these two strings once you get them through and you want to tighten the book. See, like this. Now, look and make sure it's nice and tight on the back. Now, mine's not perfectly straight. Not too concerned about it in this situation. Now, if I were doing anything else and I was selling it, it'd be different. You could do 2 or 3 knots. I think this twine is small enough that we need to do at least 3. Now, I'm not going to cut all that off yet. It's good enough. Hey, I would be able to do the other one. Let's get this threaded. Let's take these off and use them on the next signature. So we've got signature number 1 done. So let's go to, that's the back of the book. Okay, now we're going to do signature number 2. Look at that. It's starting to look like a little book. So we want to just make sure all the paper is bounced down and everything is lined up the way you want it. And you're going to hook the big clip or whatever you have to hook all of this. And then we're going to clip the other end. Usually I do all 4 sections. In other words, I put 2 clips on each side. Like I'll do this and then I'll come back and put a clip here and come back and put a clip here. Because you really want it to be super sturdy. But because of time's sake, I'm not doing that. Okay, now we want to get our little thing back out. Okay, and this is going to be the top. And you're going to fold it. You're going to fold it down that same line, this other line now. Because I must have not knew what I was doing when I made this little template. But luckily I had one the right size. Saved us a little time. Okay, and then you want to, and this paper is not the best to fold. Get up there. Straighten up. Okay. There we go. Finally. Now, I'm going to go like this, and we're going to line it up in the crease. Wait a minute. Got that upside down. So you got to pay attention to the top, the portion that says top. Okay, take your pen, your ink pen, and mark your spot. Okay. All right, now we're going to take our awl and do the same thing again. You can get both of these ready at the same time if you want. I usually just do one at a time. It's just easier for me. There you go. Okay, now get our thread all ready, our twine or crochet thread. Bring this back over here. Make sure you're working with the top up like this. And we're going to go down the middle first. Down the middle hole. And we're going to go up. Okay. Got to see what up is. This is up. Okay. Go right in the hole here. There we go. Gotta watch this string so it doesn't pull back through. Then we're gonna straight down and go back in the other hole and through the hole on the book. Now this is the portion that you where you make sure you don't hook the other thread. Let me see. We got to go back up the middle right here without hooking the thread and go through the bottom of the signature without grabbing the thread. Ha ha, we did it. Now, you've got all your threads through here. Now we need to tighten this portion. And so we're going to take these two strings and we're going to pull tight. We want to make sure one string's on one side of this long string that goes through the middle of the book. We're going to make sure everything's tight. I'm real finicky about this being correct because I don't want anybody's book to come loose. Okay, take these clips off. Let's see where we're at. All right, so here is the front of our book. There is the spine. I got off a little bit right here. I think it's because I'm speeding through this. So this is the bottom. And there's our little book. Not so bad, huh? Now you can put beads on here, buttons on here, charms on the end, or you can just tie it in a bow like this. And you still, even tying it in a bow, you could still put something on the ends of these strings if you want. And just be creative. I'm not going to worry about it right now, but I just wanted to show you. Okay, so there you go. There is our decoupaged mini book made out of Project Life cards with pockets. And we can make some little tags and put in here. We could decorate the front of this, but I think this decorates it without any problem. And I will tell you, I think this would do well to be sewed. These, you know, you could do them in different sizes. But I love the way this feels. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I probably could have done a third signature as small as I made these signatures, although you got to have room to bulk them up. Now I haven't put anything in them, like anything in the little pockets or anything like that. If I decide to do that, I'll do a third video. If not, we'll see. Okay. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you could give me a thumbs up if you did, that lets me know and lets YouTube know how my channel's doing. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. And thank you to all my subbies that are so faithful to me. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.